Yeah? You don't say. Wait, Combustion Man had a kid? It's a girl? How does that even work? Alright, look, I gotta do a video. Yes, I'm still mad about Bosco. Don't tell me to get over it. I'll never be over it. Look, I gotta go. See ya. I'm still kind of pissed about Bosco. What's up, guys? NightRider7602 here. And this is me going to talk about something very near and dear to the hearts of many, many fans around the world. We're going to talk superhero TV shows. Oh yeah, this video has been coming for a long time. Now that I'm free, I'm out of school, and currently jobless right now. Maybe I'll keep my phone by me because my boss could call. Because, my boss could call me any moment and, say, we want you back. Because you did such a good job. Please call me back, boss, if you're watching this video. Okay, enough with the shameless plug. Superhero TV shows. I love superhero TV shows. But of course, we're not going to talk about how much we love them. We're going to talk about the one show people really enjoyed. The two shows people enjoyed. And then they suddenly, dropped off the face of the freaking earth. So, I might as well, let's talk about some of the few superhero shows that a lot of people liked. In the 90s, basically, sorry, the 70s Spider-Man and Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and Captain America and whatever other show came out, Challenge of the Super Friends. We're going to go on to the 90s shows since those are the shows most people will remember for right now. Most people will have the more fond memories of. What the hell? Super Friends actually did some reruns, so. The first superhero-based show I did watch was the Super Friends when I was a kid. It was like the Challenge of the Super Friends, and that's like the League and the Legion of Doom fighting each other. Really great, weird, kooky, funny episodes. Give them a watch. Later on, I was introduced to really one of the coolest shows in known history, and that was Batman and Superman, the animated series. In my opinion, those shows were good. Batman and Superman both were really good shows. Hell, even the shows interconnected sometimes. Like Superman gets his powers stolen by Ra's al Ghul, or a villain like the Joker teams up with Lex Luthor. Excuse me, and superhero team ups are really cool. And so on and so forth. The thing I actually did like more, the one show I did like more was Batman, because Batman had a more dark and edgier stories. A lot of cool things about it was, hey, Mark Hamill. Yeah, Mark Hamill was the Joker. Luke Skywalker was the Joker. In fact, he was the Joker up until Arkham City, in which he announced that, he was retiring his role as the Joker. Most people will probably know him as Luke Skywalker, but probably more as the Joker. We sad to see him go, but we understand. He's off to do bigger and better things. Really shitty things, like the 7th episode of Star Wars, which has no continuity of any of the other Star Wars of the main series, and I'm not going to talk about that right now. Let's just say Star Wars for another video. We're saving Star Wars for another video. Let's just go with that. The fact is, a lot of Batman storylines had a lot of really dark and intense moments. Like, hell, there was one episode where Harley manages to capture Batman, take his utility belt from him, meaning he can't escape, with gadgets. Note, the guy's a master of escape artistry. And what does the Joker do? Beats her, and then knock her through a window and basically nearly kills her. Yeah, if you ever go take a psychology class and they talk about romance, 9 out of 10 are most going to likely talk about Joker and Harley. The other percent, Rita and Zed, or any other, I guess, sitcom related shows. I personally liked Joker in this season. In this series. He's evil, manipulative. He's a mix of Cesar Romero's Joker and Jack Nicholson's Joker. Notice how I didn't say Heath Ledger, because that was just flat out messed up. His Joker was a bit out there. Heath Ledger's Joker wasn't funny and wasn't that. He was entertaining to watch, but it was not that funny. He's normally like, he has like, okay, whatever. We will, like I said, I would like to just save Heath Ledger for another time period, maybe. Maybe when I review the Batman, when I review the trilogies. Anywho, really cool storylines, cool villains. It was great. It was a big part of my childhood. In fact, it was one of the few DC shows that actually spawned a sequel series. And that was Batman Beyond, Future Batman, Batman of the Future, Batman 2099 if you want to go for it. Then Superman had his own series. Superman fought his own share of villains like Livewire, Metallo, and the Exorbitant Bad Guy, and Lex Luthor. Then there was others. Then they decided, hey, let's do Justice League. Let's go ahead and do Justice League. And they did. They did Justice League, and they brought in more superheroes that haven't been brought in that have been done in cartoons recently, like the Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl. Those were like just the main few. Justice League was well received by fans that they decided that let's make a sequel series. Justice League Unlimited. This time they have more characters. Black Canary, Green Arrow, Captain Atom, Shazam, Captain Marvel if you want to go for it. And the question, that guy without a face that still kind of bugs me. I think in more terminology of the show, Unlimited had a lot more depth into it, and it was one of the few times we actually do see Superman cut loose and go full out and fight. Via his fight with Darkseid, he uses his full power. That was one of the few times you realize, Superman never actually uses his full power. He only uses half of his strength to fight his bad guys. He only goes full power when the situation calls for it. The Elite Four and Darkseid and Doomsday. And Lord Zod and Man of Steel. How the fuck you level an entire city is beyond me. How the hell do you level an entire city in one movie? Like that. Anyways, so that was one thing I liked about the shows. They were really fun. Plus, they really kept all the voice actors from the DCAU shows. Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series. Everybody came back and did their roles. It was a nice thing to see. And it was one of the last DCAU shows for a while. It was the last DCAU show, sadly. Because after that, DC will only go do anime movies, really good live-action movies, and really shitty ones like Green Lantern. And not do heroes at all, like Wonder Woman, come on! How many years has it been and we don't have a Wonder Woman movie yet? Seriously! Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, featuring Wonder Woman, featuring Cyborg, featuring the Green Lantern, featuring Martian Manhunter, featuring Lobo, featuring the street lamp in the first movie, whatever. Like, come on. Just give us fucking Wonder Woman. Come on. Yeah, and a lot of people are kind of still pissed about that. Then, after the DCAU shows disappeared for a while, Marvel was back. Let's go backwards now to Marvel, because Marvel was like, oh, so DC's doing 90s cartoon variation of their superheroes. Let's do our 90s variation. And we got Spider-Man the Animated Series, the Fantastic Four Animated Series, Iron Man, let's see, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Iron Man, X-Men. That's pretty much it, wasn't it? I feel like I'm missing more heroes, maybe, and that's only because they do appear in other. Oh yeah, the Hulk, and like some other heroes appear in like different like team ups. One thing that was pretty cool was in Spider-Man there was obviously a lot of room for team ups. Like, oh, Spider-Man teams up with the X-Men, Spider-Man teams up with Iron Man, and other various superheroes. It was really fun to see. There was that one time Ghost Rider appears in, I think, Fantastic Four and gives Galactus an eyeful with his trademark penance stare. And who can forget the iconic battle between the Hulk and the Thing? When it comes to shows, DC really did it a lot cooler in the 90s. A lot of the Marvel shows went for a lot of dramatic storylines. There was that time Spider-Man became an actual human spider. There was the time Spider-Man may have lost all his powers. The time where all the other Spider-Man came out from different universes, and there was that one time that they referenced the actual Japanese Spider-Man because apparently that Spider-Man owns a giant robot. Nobody actually knew where that came from, and we're going to actually get another series of Spider-Man cartoons or a comic book where every single Spider-Man is utilized, including the Japanese Spider-Man, and I hope he summons his giant robot to fight the other Spider-Man. That's a little too fast for me to talk. Brain numbing, isn't it? Hey, at least the X-Men TV shows can follow consistency! Fucking Days of Future Past. How the fuck does time travel even work in this? What sense would a shadow could have the ability to send people backwards in time? None of it made any fucking sense. Okay, well, we'll get on that later when we do movies. I'm collecting myself. The Iron Man show was pretty cool. It was like Iron Man and I think like his Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. buddies or something. That was back when Nick Fury was white. Yeah. You know you're old when you remember the time Nick Fury was actually white. And they really did a good job with that show too. One of the few shows that actually feature characters that wouldn't probably be featured in a PG or a children's show, like Blade and Ghost Rider. Two characters that actually deal with the really hellish supernatural, and they were put in a kids' show perspective. Well, truth be told, I think they didn't do Ghost Rider's origin story, nor Blade's origin story, but they both came in team-up episodes, and Blade came in one of my most favorite Spider-Man story arcs. That's the Michael Morbius story arc, where Spider-Man has to deal with the fact that an actual vampire exists and he has to stop him. And Dracula also exists. You become a superhero long enough, I think shit will start making enough sense that where you just don't need to have to be in shock that it actually exists. So, Marvel was all like, okay, we're in the late 2000s, what are we going to do? We're only doing reruns now. To be fair, in the 90s they did do a sequel Spider-Man series, probably to counteract Batman Beyond, that was Spider-Man Unlimited. Except it wasn't about Spider-Man in the future, it was about Spider-Man going to an alternate Earth and having to fight bestial forms of his evil villain counterparts. Kind of like what the Green Goblin was supposed to look like, but then kind of not supposed to look like. It's kind of a one-way street with that. It's a two-way street. So X-Men was like, so more people are like, okay, Spider-Man, okay, can we do anything with X-Men? And the creators were like, yeah, let's do X-Men, let's do a new X-Men series. Okay, what are we going to do with the X-Men? Let's all make the X-Men teenagers except for Logan. And they have to go to high school, and then, oh, what a shock, the Brotherhood of Evil, some of the bad guys are actually also in high school. So, in this, X-Men Evolution was a really cool show because they featured the X-Men in a different environment, school, where they are not free to use their powers at will. So it'd be like, there are moments like, there's a scene where Lance, the villain known as Avalanche, like causes like a thing to fall, like the skybox didn't really fall on Senator Kelly, and Shadowcat manages to save him at the last possible second. Or I think it was Nightcrawler. It was during that time where I knew they were gonna include Nightcrawler because Nightcrawler has just been recently introduced into the movies. She's not a serial fencer, just saying. He's not much of a fencer in the cartoons, isn't he? Anywho, yeah, it was really cool seeing the X-Men in teenage form. Scott, Jean Grey, Kurt, Rogue. I think Rogue's storyline was really one of the more cooler aspects of the show. Because you're like, oh my gosh, like, Rogue is like this outcast because she really... Her powers, in case people want to know, Rogue's powers is she basically has skin-to-skin contact with someone. Doing that will cause them to wipe their memories clean, or she'll take their memories, and if it's a mutant, she can take their powers. So there have been moments where she accidentally has touched Nightcrawler and gained his power to teleport. Wolverine, she grew claws. Sabretooth, she got really big and hairy. No lie. Storm's powers, so on and so forth. She's really cool with Professor Darkholm, who is secretly Mystique. And I love how every episode ends with like Mystique and Magneto having like this chat. They're like, we have to find a way to destroy Xavier's students. She's like, do not worry, I'll make sure they'll be defeated in this time. And it'll be like, the next episode will be like, I think it was one episode where there's one episode where she attacks the mansion and she's like, oh, nobody's here. And then Storm's like, the fuck you doing here? So Mystique and Storm had a fight, and then Mystique tries to dive kick Storm, and Storm is all like, bitch, please, and gave her a lightning bolt to the face. No, that's seriously what happens. There's also other characters that appear in the show too, like Spike. And you do get to see more mutants that I don't think have been introduced in comics. There's like this blonde chick who can create explosives. And it's really cool. When the Brotherhood and X-Men fight in their hero costumes, it's really cool. Avalanche wears the stupid helmet. Granted, his helmet's not that stupid. The Blob, Toad, Mystique. That other chick who does the explosives, she was like a double agent for a time. Rogue for a short period of time. Then Rogue joined the X-Men and learned to control her powers. And not fall in love with Gambit because Gambit was one of the 4 horsemen. Wait, what? Wait, Gambit was one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse? Wait, I'm totally confused at that point. Okay, I haven't read Age of Apocalypse yet. It's on my to-read list since that's the next movie. Cut me a break, people. Anywho. Yeah, she doesn't fall in Gambit. I think she falls in love with Colossus at one point. Yeah, a lot of X-Men do kind of make their appearance here and there. And then there's the Morlocks. The Morlocks actually appear in this. They're like mutants who will live in the sewers, and they're, they're like the mutants who side kind of with Magneto. The Sentinels. The Sentinels are in this. They're not stupid looking. We're getting to that later. It pains me how much I want to talk about the Sentinels right now, but I'm not going to talk about them right now. Let's talk about them later. And the fact that the show also has the theme of evolution, meaning, what does it mean? Oh, everybody was like, it's only called evolution because Jean Grey's in it and she's going to turn into the Phoenix at one point in the series. Yes, but then the character Spike goes through an evolution. He gains armoring and he works with the Morlocks, and then the entire city goes like to shit because once everybody found out that, mutants have been in our schools, everybody threw a hissy fit. Jean was forced to give up her soccer trophies because they think they used her powers. This one guy was trying to provoke Cyclops into shooting him in the face. It got to a point where they actually hired people from the city and brought them gear that could combat the mutants and actually can do some serious damage to the mutants. Like, there's a scene, like, where I think it's Cyclops and or Jean Grey are getting pinned down by these guys. And it's after when Spike kind of has his evolution moment and he kind of runs away. He comes back and he's all like, no, I'm not going to let you hurt these people. And he nearly winds up killing the guys in the process. Doesn't happen. City kind of forgives them. Then it's like the whole big thing with Apocalypse, where everybody has to team up and fight him. Because Apocalypse is a dick. Because Apocalypse is one of the world's first mutants and is the most powerful. Just saying. Also, extra points since this show actually had X-23. I give the 90s show extra points for introducing Deadpool. No one knew who that guy was right then and there. Deadpool actually did make an appearance in the 90s show. Except that he was done by the stupidly villain Morph. I really hate Morph. Yeah, it was like that moment he's like, I'm the best there is at what I do, and he's like, I'm Deadpool now. Like, but I think he was like really. I don't think he did that well though. He's not that silly. With that, Marvel said, hey, you know what one show we can just keep rebooting over and over and over and over and over again? Spider-Man. Spider-Man has been done to shit. Spider-Man has Amazing Friends. Ow! 90 Spider-Man. Spider-Man Unlimited. I'm pretty sure I'm missing a Spider-Man show here and there. Spectacular Spider-Man. That's like the Spectacular Spider-Man and Ultimate Spider-Man. The Spectacular Spider-Man, I feel like they were trying to do the whole follow the movies type thing, but they didn't do that, and they said, let's just go with our own thing. Really cool. I love what they did with Venom, seeing that Venom is obviously the Spider-Man on steroids, and with an alien suit. This was peak back when we found out that Venom was also the villain for the third movie. Just done really horribly. Like I said, we'll get to the movies eventually. Then they did Ultimate Spider-Man, which Ultimate Spider-Man was basically same thing. This time Spider-Man now has to work with a team. Oh, and Agent Coulson's in it because this is after the Avengers. Yeah, Spider-Man has to work with a team. Not really. It's not Spider-Man's strongest suit. But I guess people were really getting tired of these Avenger jokes about him joining the Avengers joke. Hell, Spider-Man was like, I want to be an Avenger, and they're all like, oh, no, but you gotta work with this team of Nova, White Tiger, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. And they're like really, and then these are some of them are really great out there. Like there's an episode where Norman Osborn's alive, and he comes back and he's the Iron Patriot. And then he becomes a Green Goblin again after getting injected with a serum by Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus looks like a psychopath, like a battling psychopath or a hobo. What am I missing, by the way? Electro's in it, but he looks actually the same as from the movie counterpart. He almost looks like the movie, but not the movie. Not much else to say about it. Oh yeah, this is the one Spider-Man show I think that had the balls to actually display Deadpool on TV. Yeah, the first time Deadpool's been on television, I think. Aside from 90s X-Men. Deadpool took over the entire Spider-Man show. By the way, if you watch anything with Deadpool, just know this. There is no fourth wall. The fourth wall just instantly breaks as soon as Deadpool comes on screen. Here's Deadpool. Oh, fuck, there goes the fourth wall. I'm just saying. Then back with DC did more other shows. They did The Batman, which, I don't know, put Batman I think it's a different variation on Batman. Plus, it was the one movie that actually had Batman fight Dracula, and that was really cool. Then they had Batman Brave and the Bold. This is a really old comic book that, not really old, it's not a really old comic book, fairly still like 10 years old. 10-year-old comic book where Batman would team up with a different superhero each week, and will fight various bad guys. It will be like he teams up with Green Arrow, Blue Beetle, Green Arrow again, Green Lantern, Black Canary, Robin. There was one episode where he had to be in a music. He was in a musical. Note to self: Kevin Conroy, however you want to cut it, is the best singer for Batman. Because who else can sing that song better? Kevin Conroy, Batman. DC then, DC kind of dropped the ball a bit, and they were like, oh, okay, we're not going to do TV shows. No, I know there's two shows I didn't want to talk about right about now, because I'm going to save it for later on. Basically, after a while, DC and Marvel decided, well, it was like, oh, let's do a bunch of animated movies. Back before they had other shows in plan. Like, like Avengers, World Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Yeah, in case people want to know, it's the one where it's really 90s looking and they had the really cool theme song, like Together Fighters 1. And then there's Avengers Assemble, which is, of course, the Avengers who look like the Avengers from the movie. Okay, we're rolling with it. Whatever. Good shows. Also, Hulk has a new show now called Agents of Smash, where he teams up with A-Bomb and Red Hulk and his son Scar and She-Hulk. And, really good. Fantastic Four had its own reboot by Moonscoop, the same company that I think did Code Lyoko. Did good. Ran for a few. Had the Hulk. Wolverine the X-Men was another reboot. Didn't last too long. Really was not a fan of it. Then Marvel was like, oh, let's just release a bunch of animated movies. The Ultimate Avengers 1, Ultimate Avengers 2, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Avengers The Next Generation. There's more to it, I feel like. And DC was like, oh, let's do our variations too. Let's have Justice League Doom, which is a really good movie. Watch it. Justice League War. Son of Batman. Watch that. Dark Knight Returns Parts 1 and 2. If you don't watch any other DC movie, watch those two. I swear to God, those are like the best Batman animated movies I've seen so far. Superman vs. the Elite. If you want to see Superman smack a bitch around. All-Star Superman. So on and so forth. Good animated movies. Then I said, let's go back to doing some TV shows. And then Marvel had an offer they couldn't refuse. Well, Disney decides that they're going to buy Marvel. And we're not going to wait the continuity from every Marvel movie. Oh, sucks to you, Star Wars. Oh. Fucking Disney just... First LucasArts, now Marvel. And next year, woo! Okay, I really need to shut up about that right now. I need to shut up. I can't do the Mickey Mouse impersonation without that just being the most ridiculous thing ever. Yeah, Marvel was owned by got bought out by DC not DC. Marvel got bought out by Disney, and now a lot of shows are they allow Marvel shows now on Disney XD. Fine by me. And DC was all like, release more animated movies. Let's have that Superman movie made by that Christopher Nolan guy. I'm pretty sure kids are excited to see it. My ass hurts after sitting there for 3 fucking hours watching Man of Steel. God, do I even want to talk about the neck thing? In fact, let's do the movies now. Man of Steel. I sat there for 3 hours. I'm like, this is a really good movie and it's really in-depth. Oh, Superman became a silent hero. Oh, here's a scene of Superman being apparently saved by whales, who apparently Aquaman sent them. The whole fact that Superman levels an entire fucking town. Um, and then the most controversial Superman thing in like the most history of Superman is Superman killed Lord Zod. Everybody and their moms have been talking about this scene. Oh my gosh, why did Superman kill him? Superman killed Lord Zod. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. Oh, Superman never killed his opponent. Wrong. Superman only had to kill if the moment had called for it. Like, he could kill people. Sometimes he chooses not to do it. Because he knew it would make him a monster and a total dick, and that would make him the final boss of Injustice. Whatever. Yeah, I'm not really going to talk about it because really it's not my place to talk about Man of Steel. Not the worst Superman movie on the planet. Leaps and bounds better than Superman 4. Let's just say that. The Superman movies are really good, but as everybody knows, there's the Superman curse. Was it George Reeves was paralyzed? Christopher Reeves was shot, I think. Wasn't he shot? No, Christopher Reeves died. Brandon Ralph, his career died. So the new Superman guy, I wonder if he's gonna bite it. Or let's just hope that he doesn't bite it. Or hope nothing happens to him. Best Superman I've seen so far. Just hope nothing bad happens to him. I did watch a lot of the old school Superman and Batman live action movies with my dad, and it was really fun. 3 and 4 of Superman were the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Batman had its own share of movies, a pretty good hit and or miss. There was Batman, Jack Nicholson's Joker, really good movie, really good final fight. Batman Returns, this was done by Burton. This is a Burton movie. You can tell, but it's super goth look and how some of the characters are dressed. And you got Catwoman and Penguin. This will not be the last time Catwoman will be featured in a movie. That wasn't that shitty. Yeah! Catwoman was mentioned in a movie. Catwoman had her own movie. Excuse me. Thing is, this was a totally different Catwoman, a totally different continuity, totally different city, and no mention of her being a cat burglar. And there's no Batman. Now, unless this is the period where Bane broke Batman, then I can understand it. But there hasn't been anything. It's kind of weird. That movie was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Halle Berry? Not a good Catwoman. Just saying. Then there was also Batman Forever, Myth, and Batman and Robin, which was total horseshit. So DC was like, okay, we're gonna go recuperate after these last stinkers of DC movies. And then they came back and they're like, we're gonna do a new Batman. We're gonna reboot Batman. Okay, and what are you guys doing? Christopher Nolan steps in and we were sitting there for 2 hours watching Batman Train and a lot of other things that, Batman Begins. Good movie. I think it was a good origin story. I think movies have now started to learn to flesh out the origin stories better than just, oh, Batman's parents are killed. Here's one scene of Batman training. Okay, Batman comes back. Okay, now he's Batman, and now he's fighting bad guys. It's like we see what he goes through. We understand his pain. We now know what's going on. What's happened? Why is this happening to him? What's going on? Why is he afraid of bats? Bats a symbol of fear. Why is it a symbol of fear? It's good things to know and see. And then they were like, okay, yeah, we done Batman. There's there were rumors of a Flash movie going around, then it died, then it came back, and then it died again. And now it came back, but it's now a TV show. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, we should get like a Superman movie, shall we? Nah, they decided to make another Batman. This is the Nolan trilogy, by the way. Then The Dark Knight came out, and everybody was like, oh, the Joker's in this. This is great. Joker's kind of serious, but we'll take it. Then Heath Ledger kind of bit it, sadly. And, you know, people went in, they're like, okay, that's, yeah, the good movie. It's a really good movie. Dark Knight, then there was Green Lantern. That was an obvious stinker of a movie. Green Lantern had a stinker. And it was a really ridiculous movie, really bad villain. Was setting up for a sequel that's probably never going to happen. Then there was The Dark Knight Rises, a storyline that finally actually had Bane as a competent villain. Note, when Bane was in Batman and Robin, he was not the best villain. He was kind of like, I'm going to throw and grab you, and now I'm going to throw you, Batman. It's kind of sad. So, after years of talking about it, then there was talks of a Superman movie coming around. Nolan isn't directing it, but he is producing it. Henry Cavill decided to be Clark Kent, aka Superman, and thus Man of Steel was born. Now everybody was like, oh, okay, so we're gonna get a Man of Steel like trilogy, right? Yeah, except this time it's setting up Justice League. This is Marvel's answer to what every other Marvel movie did, setting up the Avengers. Here, let's talk about the Marvel movies. Iron Man. When Iron Man came out, everybody was like, okay, they're doing Iron Man. Let's see how this works. Iron Man's a good movie. Okay, let's go leave the theater now. The credits are rolling. Oh, wait. No way. Is that fucking Nick Fury? Holy shit, they're setting up Avengers? Or are they setting up Avengers? Holy crap. Now we gotta see the next movies. Then there was Thor. Thor came out. Oh, cool, Thor. Chris Hemsworth, really good guy. Most awkward superhero movie I ever watched in my life, because Thor gets ran over, gets hit by cars, he gets beaten up for a guy who was a god of thunder. He fucking had to learn humility by getting knocked down a few pegs. And obviously he becomes a god of thunder. Actually, Iron Man 2 sets up Thor because S.H.I.E.L.D. or something was like, hey, we found it, and it's Thor's hammer. Thor, in fact, fought Hawkeye. Then there was the Hulk. The Hulk had another remake. This time the Hulk was rebooted because the Hulk actually came out in 2000, in the early 2000s, but it was a really weird movie. The Hulk didn't appear in it too much, and it was really odd. Hulk was rebooted and had the Abomination as a villain, which was really cool to see. Then there was Captain America: The First Avenger. This finally was like, hey guys, this is the last movie before we start setting up the Avengers. I hope you're ready. And I hope you're ready to see it, because the end of the movie was, I see you have woken up, and it's Nick Fury. You're like, holy shit, they're doing it, they're setting up Avengers, holy fucking shit, I can't wait. Avengers came out, well received. Iron Man 3 came out. What the fuck? Thor 2. Hey, it's the Doctor. It's the Doctor as a bad guy. Yeah, those ears are really out there now. Hey, his ears are even bigger than before. I know that's probably just insulted like Christopher Eccleston fans everywhere. Captain America 2. Hey, the Winter Soldier. That's really cool. Oh, the feels from Bucky and Captain America's relationship, which is really nice. I love it. Everything is setting up for Avengers 2: Age of Ultron. Apparently, here's the story. It's not Ant-Man who's building Ultron. It's Iron Man. Iron Man built Ultron, apparently it goes haywire, blah, blah, blah. Ant-Man... Has Ant-Man found a director yet? Because I've been hearing that nobody wanted to do Ant-Man. No one in their right mind wanted to do Ant-Man. Because we want to do a superhero that goes... Shrink, medium, shrinks, medium. And at the end he goes giant. Nobody wanted to do a movie like that. That or the fact they found out that Iron Man's going to build Ultron, I guess makes it kind of understandable and irrefutable. So, yeah. So they're obviously setting up Age of Ultron. The ending of Captain America 2, spoiler alert, sets up, obviously, that Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch are going to be in this movie. Thor 2 actually sets up Guardians of the Galaxy, because the villain in that movie is actually the villain of Guardians of the Lost Galaxy. And, waiting. Now, the waiting begins. The X-Men movies are something to talk about, really. Let me get this straight. X-Men went forwards. Back again. Forward. Full circle? Yeah. X-Men 1. X-Men come together, or it's where they actually just retrieve Wolverine. They retrieve Wolverine. Wolverine joins the X-Men. Has a comment about not wearing yellow tights. Okay, good movie. Sent up Spider-Man because there's a little gag in one episode, in one scene. If you watch like the bloopers for it, they have the X-Men run in, and then there's somebody in a Spider-Man costume. So obviously setting up for Spider-Man that will come out later in 1 year. X-Men 2 had the X-Men battling Stryker, and this is more going into Wolverine's origins. One scene I have to probably laugh at is Magneto looking at Rogue and just goes, "I love what you did to your hair." And just Rogue and Iceman are looking at him like, do you really want to say that right now? Because it's kind of your fault that she's like that. Yeah, it's his fault that Rogue's hair has that white streak. And then X-Men 3 was like, oh, let's do the Phoenix Saga. But she doesn't have to wear that ridiculous costume. Have her kill Cyclops, have her kill millions of people, have her kill Professor Xavier, and then have Wolverine killed her. Okay, we're like, oh, okay, this is great. Setting up the 4th X-Men movie, it's going to be about Apocalypse, I bet, or some other villain. No, this time they're like, oh, we're going to do Wolverine's origin story. Get this, this is Wolverine story mode. This is Wolverine's story of how he got the adamantium claws. There's one tiny problem, though. The movie went backwards to Wolverine's origins and went forward with it, but there's a slight problem. Wolverine had been to Japan first. In fact, Wolverine had been to Japan first because Wolverine had a lover there, moved to Canada, Sabretooth's all like, I finally found you, Jimmy, and then beats him up, breaks his claws, and then he gets the adamantium. But he has no fucking clue who he is, because he gets shot by an adamantium bullet by the origin of the movie. Also, this movie the Wolverine takes place after the events of X-Men 3. So we got a sequel to the prequel that was a sequel to the 3rd movie. Wait, that makes no sense. In fact, Wolverine visits... Yeah. If you wanted to put the movies in order, The Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Oh wait, then there was X-Men First Class. This is the story of how the X-Men first came together. Who were the first X-Men? Or basically, it's who were the original X-Men. It was Xavier, Magneto, Havoc. Havoc, who was Scott's brother. Yeah, Cyclops doesn't even make an appearance in this movie. He makes an appearance in Origins, though. Makes an appearance in Origins. And that's pretty much it, because Havoc's in this movie, Mystique's in this movie. Who else? Banshee and a lot of other characters. The movie ends with, Professor Xavier getting, like, paralyzed from the waist down. Brotherhood of Evil forming. Of course, the fact that nobody's not talking about the fact that Mystique has been, Azrael and Mystique been hooking up. What do you think hurts Blue and can teleport? Also, Emma Frost is in it. So, let's see. Wolverine did make an appearance in the movie. Wolverine, everybody freaked out when everybody's like, so it's like this whole scene where they're collecting mutants, like, we're here to join your team. Yeah, we want to join your team. Here, you want to join our team? They go into a bar, and here's Wolverine. Everybody's like, holy shit, it's Wolverine! And they're like, hi, Professor Charles Xavier. Do you want to join? Fuck off. Actually, it's go fuck yourself. He's like, go fuck yourselves. They just leave. Which is actually the most funniest thing I've ever seen. That's like the biggest Wolverine cameo I've ever seen in my life. So, and then there's X-Men Days of Future Past, which is after the events of the Wolverine, before the events of the Wolverine. It's not understandable. I think it's supposed to be after the Wolverine, because it does set up Trask Industries, the industries that created the Sentinels. Which, now we get to our big problem. The Sentinels. The Sentinels look nothing like the actual Sentinels. They are apparently excuse me. They're apparently adaptable Sentinels. Meaning, like, whoever they're fighting, like, say, Iceman, they use their weakness against. So, like, ice and fire. There's sometimes the X-Men are pretty brutally beaten up in this movie. Storm gets stabbed, Blink gets stabbed, Colossus is fucking ripped into 2 pieces, Iceman is decapitated and stepped on. It is a crazy, crazy movie. Also, sending Wolverine back in time is the one thing you don't want to do, because nobody will understand a guy who is Canadian and has no patience. Plus, let's send a guy back who has the most emotional trauma of it all. Sadly, this is the only person they can send back, because sending anybody else back would just destroy their minds completely. So in this movie, Wolverine has bone claws. So apparently, it's supposed to be understandable that this is Wolverine before he moves to Japan and, so on and so forth. He meets young Professor Xavier and Beast, who's in X-Men's First Class. This is a weird thing, though, because Beast can only transform into Beast when he's mad. Meaning to tell me that something happened to him in a later movie, maybe, that solidified his transformation. So it's like, holy shit. And then Xavier can walk in. Apparently, Xavier is British. The guy who plays Xavier is British. And he's like, I don't want your future. Actually, there's a moment where Wolverine is trying to talk some sense into him. He's like, oh, now I remember you. You're that bloke from the bar. What is it that you said? Oh, fuck off. He leaves. This entire movie is Wolverine trying to convince Xavier that, hey, if we don't stop Mystique from killing the guy, this whole thing could lead to the future could be ruined. People could die. And so Wolverine's trying to tell him, look, things are gonna be chaotic if you don't do this, if you don't help me. At one point, Wolverine actually nearly kills Kitty Pryde, because seeing Stryker, the guy who charged the Weapon X program, sends Wolverine into a blind fury, and accidentally nicks Kitty with his claws. Yeah, by the way, when does Shadowcat have the ability to transport people in the mind through the past? It made no sense. Damn, man. I mean, the X-Men movies just don't go... The X-Men movies don't have one continuous timeline. It goes backwards, forwards, up, down, left, right, up your ass, through your mouth. You have no idea where in the timeline you're supposed to pick everything up from. Do I watch X-Men 1 to understand every other movie? I don't know. You should probably watch First Class. I don't know with the X-Men movies. Spider-Man, on the other hand, got it right. Spider-Man had a trilogy. This was done with Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker for all 3 movies. Now, believe it or not, this is a movie that is well acclaimed by all, loved by some, hated by others, mixed bag for a lot of other people. The Raimi Spider-Man movies were really cool. Nobody liked the 3rd movie because let's just shoehorn in Venom at the last possible second, and then, it's kind of terrible. Let's have emo Peter Parker. Yeah, emo Peter Parker. Let's just go with that for now. Then there was an announcement of, hey, we're going to reboot Spider-Man, and we're going to have Andrew Garfield play the role. Andrew Garfield has a really hard time keeping the fact that he's British. We know he's British. We know you're British. You've done Doctor Who. That was completely racist. I am sorry. But we could tell he's British. He tries his best to hide the British factor a little bit. Sometimes he'll say something in he'll sound British, but it won't come out as British. But can't be mad with him. I'm not mad with him, man. Also, this sets Spider-Man in another time period. Spider-Man's actually going to school when he's Spider-Man. The first movie takes place when he's in high school still. And this is also the first time that the Lizard has been modified for actual live-action screens. Not cartoons. He's now live-action, and he's really damn ugly. But is a really good villain to start off the movies with. Then there's the second movie. Yes, I'm aware that, yes, they had Gwen Stacy for the first movie. So I was like, they're either going to kill her the second and or a third movie. Whichever comes first. So seeing Spider-Man 2 trailer, and seeing that Spider-Man is now going up against 3 villains. The Rhino, Electro, and the Green Goblin. Who is Harry Osborn. This is a really good movie. A lot of people going into it knew what they were going to expect. With the exception of the Rhino. I really assumed that the Rhino should have been a villain that came in early on in the movie. Or the suit. The suit came in and he's all like, I'm the Rhino, I'm stronger and faster now. Instead, we had that one scene where Spider-Man's like, thank you, kid. I now understand that I need to be a hero again and fight the good fight. A really big thing about this movie is Peter and Gwen's relationship. After the events of the first movie where Stacy's dad... oh my god. When Gwen's dad dies, Captain Stacy dies. Peter has PTSD kind of and starts seeing him everywhere. Because last thing Captain Stacy said before he died was, don't drag Gwen into this. And he sadly dragged Gwen into it. In his battle with Electro, in the battle with the Green... in his second encounter with Electro, and in his battle with the Green Goblin. Sadly, this is one of the more sadder scenes in the series. Because Spider-Man tried his damn hardest to save Gwen. that sadly him saving her was her ultimate downfall. Also, what the fuck happened to the Green Goblin? It made no sense. The Green Goblin, like, it was a quick second fight. It was like, hit, kick. Bomb goes off. Gwen's falling. Spider-Man's trying to save her. He knocks out the Green Goblin. Spider-Man goes in to save her, and yep. When that scene happens, I'm like, this is me. No! Like, no! Like, Peter, no! No! No, Peter, don't do it! And you're like, oh my god! You're just like, you're sitting there, you're about to just hear this blood-curdling snap. And you're like, like, holy fuck! Oh my god, I can't believe they went through with it. They went through with killing Gwen Stacy. Also, good job, movie, for actually showing time that, yeah, Peter really was torn up over this, and has given up being Spider-Man because of it. And then at the end, he realizes, like, he watches Gwen's speech, and he's like, you have to keep going, no matter what the cost, no matter what happens, you gotta keep going, you gotta keep fighting. So Gwen eventually was the only thing that brought him back into becoming Spider-Man. And that was a really touching moment to see, and then, of course, the Rhino. Now, everybody was talking about what's happening with Spider-Man. Apparently, they're not going to go and do a third movie. They're going to set up something known as the Sinister Six, which has Sandman, Venom, and Carnage, and a bunch of other bad guys. That's apparently what they're supposed to be setting up. That's the same reason why Electro and Green Goblin are still alive and not killed by some freak accident. Crazy. I'm catching my breath here because I think we're gonna, before we go into the last subject of this video, I would like to talk about the Marvel anime-verse. Okay, so in like 2012 maybe, Marvel was like, hey guys, we're gonna make a move into the anime industry. Everybody's like, what? No way. What are you guys gonna do for the anime industry? And they greenlighted shows such as Iron Man, Wolverine, X-Men, and Blade. There are only 4 of these shows, each one consisting of 12 episodes long. It's a miniseries. Good miniseries. Some of them actually do interconnect with each other, and it's a really fun ride. I suggest you check them out. Even check out the Iron Man animated movie, the Iron Man anime movie, Rise of the Technovore. Check that out. If you're looking for something in the television department, how about this? Watch Smallville. Smallville was basically the story of Superman before he became Superman. And it features a lot of villains, young heroes, and it's a really cool ride. You'll stick through the ride. Hopefully you'll stick along to the very end. Where you will see Superman put on the trademark costume and go become Superman for the first time. Really cool ride. It's really fun. Really, you're gonna really enjoy it. There's also Arrow, Green Arrow series, which is really cool. You should watch it. It has Deathstroke. By BTW, I'm gonna meet Deathstroke at SuperCon this year. Hey, yeah, if you're in the Florida area, you want to go to SuperCon, you want to see me. If you're gonna see me there. That's awesome. We'll go do. Let's go watch some panels together, guys. For all my Florida fans, let's go see some panels. I'm definitely gonna go see Dana Snyder again. And I'm going to definitely meet a lot of the Ranger characters. A lot of the Power Rangers. Woo! Can't wait. But I've wasted my time. But I've held off on it long enough. It's time to talk about the 2 series everybody enjoyed. But they were gone before their time. And then they were replaced by 2 other shows that were not as good. I'm talking about the whole thing that has happened, 3 good shows, with Green Lantern the Animated Series, Young Justice, and Teen Titans. Let's start off with Teen Titans. Teen Titans was the shit. Every kid knew the theme song, seen every episode, and loved and owned toys. I, on the other hand, enjoy video games. So I played the Teen Titans video game. I played some of the computer games they made for Cartoon Network. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. The show Teen Titans in itself had seasons dedicated to each Titan. Robin had a season. Beast Boy had a season. Cyborg had a season. Raven had a season. Starfire only got a few episodes. That was really one of the more sadder moments. And the thing is with Teen Titans, it was an anime basically. It had story arcs. Like there was that one time where you felt like Cyborg was gonna quit the team and actually work with Titans East, which consisted of Speedy, Mossy Manos, Bumblebee, and Aqualad, who's not the Aqualad from Young Justice. It's kind of a different thing. The show ended after, I believe it was Beast Boy's season. And that was the whole thing with the Doom Patrol and how Beast Boy really, the reason Beast Boy quit the team was because they treated him like a kid. And Starfire sadly did not get her own season. Starfire did get a few episodes dedicated to herself. Hell, she had an episode that was based off an anime dedicated to her. She had Fully Cooley. She had a Fully Cooley episode. So I really enjoyed that, and that's when Starfire got the upgrade laser eye powers. And then the heroes are married to Glargshmal, the really weird glob alien that her sister tried to set her up with. I always love the look on Robin's face where they believe it's this really hot Tamaranian guy, and it's just ugly blob. I think one of my favorite seasons is Trigun's Raven season, and it's because Trigun, the one villain the Titans really can't fight. They try fighting this guy and it doesn't work out as well. The Titans get beat up, the Titans get cloned, the Titans get imprisoned, certain things don't work. Slade comes back as a zombie. Yeah, Slade apparently died because at the end of the 3rd season. Wait a minute, the 3rd season really had not have a season dedicated to it. No, it had it, but their ending was close to basically. Terra came back. Terra was a traitor. Terra fought and picked out the Titans one by one. Out of all the Titans, she fucks up Robin the most. She throws Beast Boy and Cyborg into a crevice. Starfire fell off a cliff. Her and Raven had a mud wrestling fight. Drowned her in mud. Robin, I'm gonna bash a big fucking rock on you. Boom. You're like, damn. And Robin still survived. And then there was the opening to the second part, which was they all just said, fuck this shit. We're just gonna beat the living fuck out of you. Boom, boom. They're all hitting her and stuff. She's like, fuck this shit, I'm out. And she's like, Slade, I can't do this. And Slade's all bitch, backhands her. And then they all teamed up to fight Slade. Terra goes Super Saiyan, or something, unleashes her full power, kills Slade, and turns herself into a statue. The whole problem was, the series ended on a big cliffhanger. Was Terra really alive? No one knows. Because Terra, they say that the statue disappeared apparently. They're like, that's strange, the statue disappeared. And there was oh, maybe the statue was destroyed when Slade came back. If so, how the hell did Terra get the armor off her? it makes no sense. Then there was a theory that maybe when Raven defeated Trigun and everybody was turned back from being stoned, that maybe Tara was brought back, but her memories got wiped in process. So nobody knew what happened. Basically, no one was aware that the show was going to get canceled. The season opens where the Titans come back home after their fight with the Brain, and they're like, "Oh my gosh! Like so many places that we've been to are now closed because we never be here anymore. Like the city's changing, and they're fighting a monster that shapeshifts into like it's like a chameleon." And then Beast Boy's trying to like, "Tara, remember who you are," and she's all like, "No, I don't know who you're talking about." And the episode ends with Beast Boy having to run off to fight the monster, and we don't see what happens after. So many people were torn up by it. Then there was talk of a Teen Titans movie. People believing that this will probably be the thing that will save the series. The movie was called Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo. The Titans will go to Tokyo and battle manga. Yeah. Japanese manga characters. And cool factor rises when you have Beast Boy sing the opening theme song in Japanese. And extra points for finally having Robin and Starfire make out. Finally, god damn, I mean, after an entire series worth of flirting and dodging it, they finally do it. They finally make out. Then there was talk of another series. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, is this Teen Titans returning?" It's Young Justice. This show is different. It wasn't Teen Titans, but it was the closest thing people were going to get to Teen Titans. That was actually more serious. Gone was the effect of being hilarious. Gone were the silly animations. It was now, we're serious, and we're going to fight like bad guys, and we're going to have some really complex story arcs. And then we're going to throw in a few romances here and there. Show is fantastic. The show is amazing! You're like, holy shit, you're sitting there glued to your screen, and you're like, holy shit. Okay, so Sportsmaster is Artemis's dad. Hunter's in a wheelchair. Aqualad is Black Mana's son. You're like, oh my god, this is crazy. Superboy is a clone. Superman is not really accepting of that. And it's really cool. You got like one scene where Robin and Nightwing or Robin and Superboy fight their counterparts, Superman and Batman. The League do make appearances in the show. Superman will come, and Superman, Batman, the Green Lantern, so on and so forth. The show only ran for maybe 2 or 3 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. There was Young Justice and Young Justice Invasion. This was a whole storyline dedicated to Blue Beetle, basically, and his race, and the race his powers come from, which is the Scarab. So we got villains like Black Beetle, and characters like Black Beetle, Green Beetle, Luthor, who sets up like his own superpower team, and nobody saw this coming. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's this black guy, and he shoots electricity. I go, nah, it's not fucking Black Lightning, is it? And I go, wait, nah, this isn't fucking who I think it is. And as soon as he said the name Virtual Hawkins, I'm like, holy shit, it's Static Shock! We have not seen Static Shock in cartoons in like years. After his show? Holy fucking shit! You're like, oh shit, Static Shock in this show now. You can't wait to see what they're going to do with him. The show ended on such a bittersweet note, though. Kid Flash dies. Kid Flash died. Artemis is left heartbroken. Gives up being Artemis, becomes Tigress again. Impulse takes on the role of Kid Flash for now. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for season 3. And I feel so emotionally invested, and we found out the show's canceled. You want to know why the show was canceled? a lot of people were saying that the show didn't really sell well. Merchandising. There was nobody buying the toys, nobody buying clothing, so on and so forth. Then there was an interesting thing with Kevin Smith and some higher ups who worked on the show. Basically, they said that the real reason why the higher ups at Cartoon Network didn't want to redo them for a third season, basically was because girls were invested into the series. Now, here's the thing. You can follow any story you want to believe. I'll actually tend to believe the story that they ran out of funding, maybe. That's the most believable one. This is kind of a weird thing. So apparently, the creators of the show were like, look, the only reason why things didn't go, why we're not getting a season 3 is because we're not getting funding and girls watch the show. Basically, it was because the show really was complex in its own right. And sadly, being complex on Cartoon Network is a terrible bad thing. Because when you're a complex show like Young Justice, apparently the higher ups of Cartoon Network thinks that kids are stupid. And it's not like, oh my gosh, we need to have action. So, what happened? So yeah, Young Justice was also cancelled. Mainly because girls were invested in the series. And it was like, oh, it's too much romance. The plot lines are too hard to follow. We need more boom, bam, and pew, 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 and oh my god, explosions and flashing lights. The same can be said for Green Lantern, the animated series, sadly. It had a very rocky start, but it kind of grew into its own right. Sadly, like I said, the show perished because not many people liked it. Some people were like, the Red Lantern was scary, the Kilowog looked scary, the Red Lantern's crazy, the romance. Hell, the creators even shared a story where they actually tried to get the show greenlit one time and it didn't work. They were really upset, and they're like in the park, and out of nowhere, here comes Bruce Timm, who worked on the DCAU shows, and they're talking to him. They're like, "Look, we tried to get our show, and it didn't work. Not many people liked it." And Bruce Timm was like, "Yeah, that happened to me too with Batman. Basically, these guys didn't like Batman because it was too dark, it was too edgy, it was scary. A lot of the plot lines were really complex. There was blood. People said, oh my god. They said, oh my gosh. So it was like, oh my, yeah. And then he's like, look, no matter what happens, you gotta keep trying. You can't give up. You can do this. And, Bruce Timm helped him out, and Green Lantern was lit. The Green Lantern show was lit. Fantastic show. Good run. Cancelled. Why are all the good Cartoon Network shows getting cancelled? So I'm like, Young Justice has been cancelled. What are they going to replace it with? So there was talk that Teen Titans was coming back. So I'm like, okay, hope is not lost. Then you find out that it's not the same Teen Titans. Yeah, basically this is Teen Titans Go, a separate comic series that is basically like a joke, like a comedy series, more than a serious action show. And man, a lot of people were mad when they found out the creators of this show knew jack shit about the original, or haven't watched the original. So everybody's like, I can't believe that they, I can't believe these creators don't know shit about the original show. Justice League is ruined. The whole show's ruined. Everything's ruined. No wonder Marvel's beating us in like ratings and the movies and the TV shows and Spider-Man this and Avengers that. But wait, I know what you're saying. You don't like this show. This show is not a continuation of the series. For people who gave up on this show, listen to me. Watch it. Watch it one time for the story. Watch it again for all the little details. No one believed me. No one believed me. I was like, look, in Starfire's room, in that one episode where she has all those stuffed animals, there's a Bane plushie, and it's Bane from The Dark Knight Rises. And my friend's like, I don't believe you. I'm like, let's watch the episode. See, look, that's a Bane plushie. Holy shit. Starfire has a superhero under her bed. Yeah, I forgot the dead something. He's a DC villain, I think, like Ghost. He's like a ghost guy. And I go, oh my god, I can't believe they mentioned that thing about Speedy. I can't believe they mentioned Speedy's problem. If you want to know what Speedy's problem was, Speedy was on speed! No, he was on crack. No, wait, he was on crack. Or meth. He was on drugs. And they reference that in the kids show. Very subtly. No one panicked about it. Because no one knew. The show has so many hidden things. Hell, if you watch one episode where they're in the Batcave, Batman has like a laundry list of things on a shelf. On there is an urn that says Robin 2 and a crowbar. Robin number 2 was Jason Todd. Jason Todd was killed by the Joker, who beat the living shit out of him with a crowbar. So I'm like, holy shit, this is really good. You can just, you're like trying to watch all the little detailing, and you're like, oh, okay, I see the Batman for this episode. He's right there with Commissioner Gordon. Oh, Aqualad's a DJ. You have to watch, if you're gonna watch the show, watch it for all the itty bitty little background stuff and really randomness of the show. The show also has really random moments that no one saw coming. There's an episode where Silky is trying to find a place to sleep, and going to each of the Titans' rooms, they all have different dreams. Starfire's dream is like, the Titans complain too much, so she matches them as kitties and have a kitty picnic. Cyborg's dream is a video game. Beast Boy's dream is about him being a chameleon who can't walk. I think everybody's want to talk about Raven because Raven's was like the most weird one of them all. It was like, no, father, I won't do your bidding. And she destroys Trigun. And she kills her friends. And then she's riding the earth. And then she's riding Silky. And you're like, oh god. If nobody watches, if you watch that scene out of context, you're like, is Raven like trying to fuck the earth or something? So, I'm like, Robin. I wonder what Robin. Like, Robin's gonna dream about some shitty thing about being with Starfire, and then all you hear is, and you're looking, and you're like, oh fuck. You're like, oh my god, they're referencing the actual series. What? Robin's dream is basically the ending fight scene from Trouble in Tokyo. Everything dubbed. It's like a bridge. It was like, oh my god. Yeah, like, I'm so awesome. Right, Starfire? Oh my god, you're my hero. Let's make out. And you're like, oh my god. Hey, everybody. Robin and Starfire are together. And it's like the most perfect thing ever. Watch the show for like a lot of background stuff. I'm telling you, it will make the most difference if you do. And then there was Beware the Batman. This show was in development hell for a while. Apparently the show was supposed to come out in 2010 or 12 maybe? But that wasn't the case. The show was in development hell along with Gotham High. Yeah, another show where, what if all the villains were teenagers in high school, you know. Yeah, you ever want to know what a zombie looks like in high school? Solomon Grundy and Catwoman, and the Bat family. So, yeah, Beware the Batman is one of the most weirder Batman incarnations. Because this is about a Batman who has a new sidekick, who's like this Japanese lady who's like a bodyguard. And of course Bruce Wayne's all like, Alfred, the fuck I need a bodyguard for if I'm the fucking goddamn Batman? And he's like, well, Bruce Wayne needs one, not Batman. And of course she's like, oh, now I can become a superhero too. I have a jade sword. Show ran for about 11 episodes and then taken off the air. People thought it was canceled as well. Sadly, it's not. It's not canceled. It's been put on Toonami. So now my question is, what does Cartoon Network have against superhero TV shows? It's like they show the shows no respect. And it's like anything that's complex is terrible. Because all kids care about Adventure Time's plots are even complex. People can write fucking term papers on this shit. On Adventure Time's episodes. I go, why shows like Adventure Time that actually do have some has a complicated plot has not been canceled yet? Mainly because the show is very bright and colory. If you take a show that's very bright, okay, let's do this. Let's say I'm a really complex, dark show. See this lighting behind me? It's very dim. And we're going to talk about serious stuff like drugs and alcohol and, I don't know, like, have romance. Cartoon Network's all like, let's make it lighter. So, let's get up. So, let's say you're Cartoon Network now. And Cartoon Network's like, oh, we really need a new show to counteract for this one. Well, instead of being dark, the show's going to be, look at that. This show is extremely bright, colory, and stupidly cartoonish. Oh god, my neighbor's in the bathroom. Oh god, I'm so sorry. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. You have to see that. My neighbor's in a bathrobe. My neighbor was in a bathrobe. My neighbor was in a bathrobe, people. I'm sorry. Though, I mean, people see my content from me, not from my neighbors in bathrobes. You get me wrong, my neighbor's a good-looking woman. But you know where I'm talking about, right? Shit like Johnny Test. Oh my god, Johnny Test is such a terrible show. Everybody craps on this show. Johnny Test was good back then, when it was on like the CW for kids or something. Good show. It really overstayed its welcome. Everybody craps on the show because this show can have 1 second of silence. It's like, and everything requires like a sound effect. Watch, I'll imitate if anything you see from Johnny Test. Whip crack! Oh my gosh, sirens, whooshing sound. Police sirens go off. And that was because I moved my arm. Why do shows like Johnny Test still exist? It shows that Cartoon Network is slowly becoming smarter by keeping shows like Adventure Time and Regular Show on there. Because these are shows kind of meant for their older demographic. But we're talking superheroes here, right? So, yeah. There you go. Cartoon Network just can't handle the fact that we're dealing with complex things. And we can't just we just can't easily cancel them and then go, oh, let's make the show more cartoonish and silly. I don't know what to say about it. It's been crazy. It's a crazy thing. I hope a lot of people are saying that since Young Justice is on Netflix, maybe if people watch Young Justice on Netflix, they'll maybe, like, they'll try to opt for another season. Just don't be like those people who are like, save the tree because the tree, Twilight's Library and My Little Pony Season 4 finale was destroyed by T-Rex. So, yeah, superhero shows, superhero movies. Those are my thoughts on them. Those are my thoughts. This is Knight Rider 7602. Join me soon as we do another review. And I hope that you all have a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious day. Goodbye.